So now we have a huge invasion in Fairy Tail that is about 100,000 dudes and monsters. Yeah, that's how big it is in this chapter. So we pretty much get a lot of clear up of like what's been happening with Wendy during this time, and pretty much like she's actually been staying with Chelia. Actually, she's been there. She's become a member of like Lamia Scale. She absolutely hates like doing that embarrassing shit. You know, oh yeah, we're gonna spread love and you know all that bullshit. I mean, she even got the fucking tattoo and everything. It wasn't like, oh, I'm really still Fairy Tail Baha. She actually got rid of the actual guild like insignia off her. So that's kind of a crazy thing to even just imagine that she's even done. So that's one thing like I was kind of shocked about, that Wendy kind of went all the full way. And when we saw like both like Natsu, Lucy, and Happy go say, yo, what's been? And she was like really happy. She was like, you know, crying, and it's like I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of laughing my ass off. It's like, well, like, yo, you've grown taller, haven't you there, Wendy? It's like, well, we take you back now. She just started carrying her on. It's like, hey, here you go, you come back with us. And it's like, they're saying, yeah, we're bringing back Fairy Tail, you know, we need everyone and all that. And it's like, explaining their situation, she's saying like, oh yeah, our master's being disappeared for like a long while and stuff like that. Apparently since, you know, everyone in the council pretty much died and stuff like that, they pretty much saying like, you know, all the like 10 Wizardly Saints had to become the councilman, and Jura became one. And this is where they're thinking like, okay, maybe this is what happened to Makarov. Makarov probably became one of the councilmen as well, and this is why he hasn't returned. And, you know, also kind of like the embarrassment, because he got into a lot of shit about the whole Fairy Tail situation. And I imagine like, who knows, he's part of the council, maybe he's like imprisoned or something like that. That's one thing I'm kind of curious about. What's happening with Makarov right now? Because like, that's one thing I kind of want to know, but it's like, they're saying, hey, Wendy, you know, come back with us and all that. And yeah, I'm kind of shocked to see that Wendy was like, yeah, I'm part of Lamia Scale now. I'm not going with you guys. And I was like, what? And she just smiles and said, I was like, I was just kind of shocked about that. And then I found out the reason kind of why, which I feel like, oh, she's going to pretty much come back and all that. And it's like, I was kind of like, when I heard that, I was like, I kind of don't care, Wendy. Like, I mean, yeah, Wendy had, you know, don't get me wrong, Wendy had some fucking awesome moments here. You know, the getting the dragon for, you know, like that Sky Dragon mode was awesome, don't get me wrong. But out of the main Fairy Tail cast, she's the least interesting, and she's the least likable out of all of them all. It's like, I don't care for this little girl, honestly. And it's like, yeah, reasons like kind of like obviously show that she's going to come back, because like she's kind of staying there because of Chelia, because like, you know, her sister, like her cousin, I believe like they're either cousin or sisters, Sherry is actually getting married by the Blue Pixis guy, and she's going to be all on her own. And kind of Wendy kind of stayed, you know, we're like really close together and all that, you know, so we're going to stay together. So I thought, you know, she's probably going to come back. She's probably going to like be pushed back, say, yeah, you can go back with Natsu and all that. Kind of interesting to see though that the way how Natsu and Lucy are doing it, it's like it seems like they're going to be getting the members like in the opposite orders. It's like Wendy was one of the last members, now that she's like the one of the first ones that they got back. So I imagine one of the ones that probably get back like before that is probably Grey or something like that, or even Urza. So probably the next one we could probably maybe see is maybe Gargiel or something like that. But the whole explanation about Charlotte was like, you know, cool. She's like, pretty much, I felt like it was just a way to hear her saying, hey, you know, this saves me. This is another cool, like, you know, female design I've got here. Like, here you go for you people. Like, I just felt like it was nothing there. It's like, pretty much in a nutshell, she was like, oh, this is transformation magic. Learn it, and it helps me strengthen my magic and my psychic powers. It's like just a way to like strengthen it. And she's just transformed back. Out of all the cats and all that, it's like actually like Happy's the only one that couldn't do it. And I was like so disappointed that he hasn't been doing any training whatsoever. I was like, really, Hero, you could have gave Happy something to wants to do that, but I guess he just really wants to keep him as that mascot character and not make him really do anything. Like, so like we now know that, you know, Charlotte can now do the transformation, and Panther has his transformation, his battle mode. So, you know, I guess it's something. But like once we see like the whole fucking like guild attack, which I believe they were named Orochi, they just fucking went in. They were like just attacking the city. We get to see a little bit of fucking, see how powerful Leon's got. Like he's just fucking just straight up immediately froze like one of these like dragon like thingies, like just like it was nothing. It was like this weird fucking lizard dude, and he was like, oh, just like fucking nothing. And we get to see that these guys are pretty much like set up a big fucking army of people, since they've got like 100,000 people attacking them. And it's like, yeah, Lamia Scale, like, what did they do to piss these guys off? Because they've always been rivals, but to send 100,000 people to attack a city, this is kind of a lot. So yeah, these guys must have grown in numbers in a year and all that. But honestly, from what they looks like, they just look like, yeah, they're just sheer numbers. They're not anything special at all. Like, so I really don't see anything from these villains. I can honestly see the next chapter getting taken out, pretty much all of them, like from like Wendy and Chelia, like, because that's the thing. Like Natsu's like, oh, we're gonna go in the sky and take him up with Wendy, and Chelia like actually takes like saying, you know, fuck this, you know, fuck you, Natsu. I'm gonna, which I kind of like. That's like, oh, Natsu isn't the problem solver this time, because I feel like that's what Natsu's always been. But it's like, yeah, we get to see, you know, like it's gonna be Wendy and Chelia. It's like we're gonna see like them solve the problem and all that. It's like maybe we might see a cool like wind technique like combo that they'll do with her like a Sky Dragon mode or something like that. I'd personally like to see that. Like, just overall, this chapter, like, I'm thinking, like, ever since the time it's had issues. This kind of, like, explained and cleared a few things up with the whole, you know, like, Charla stuff. Wendy saying, oh, I'm not going to her, but it's, like, it's kind of obvious that she is. But it's, like, I guess mainly, it's just mainly because of me. Like, I personally have no interest in the character whatsoever with Wendy. Like, I've never been a big fan of her, and I probably never will be. But it's like, for character, like, the people are like really looking forward to see Wendy again. Yeah, it sounds like she might have a little bit of progression, actually. So we can only wait until next week to see what she's actually been, like, developing and all that. And, you know, it was kind of funny here and there, but overall, the chapter didn't have too much to give. It's like, we know that the arrival of, like, Guild, Dark Guild is, like, Orochi, and they're going to fuck shit up. That Wendy's kind of resolved not to return to the Guild, and she actually went to the point of actually having the mark on her arm, which was kind of crazy to see. But, yeah, overall, it's not too much of a great chapter. I would kind of say it's above average. I'd probably give it a 5.5 out of 10. That's kind of my own personal opinion, though. Like, that's mainly because I don't really like Wendy as a character. I'm sure you other guys kind of enjoyed it, saying, yeah, I really enjoyed Wendy having back there, but it's like, me, not a big fan. Like I said, don't get me wrong, I still think this shit is beastly. Don't get me wrong, I think Wendy's pretty fucking awesome in Tyrus, but yeah, unless you can pull stuff like that again, I'm still gonna need to be a little persuaded and all that. But yeah, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about this chapter of Fairy Tail. But that's all for me, so thank you very much for watching as always, and I'll see you guys next time.